all the couples are a bit questionable on the latest season of the Ultimatum Queer Love, but I feel like the most questionable and the most problematic and the most toxic couple is DANYA and MAGAN. And honestly, it was a whirlwind to determine like who was the problem, whether it's both of them, who's the most problematic. But I'm leaning towards it being DANYA. But initially, I was thinking it could be MAGAN. I don't think MAGAN is necessarily innocent, the innocent party in all of this. But initially, I thought it was MAGAN. She was the problem. DANYA's the one who gave the ultimatum. She wants to be married, and it seems like MAGAN has these reservations, and it seems like her core issue, or what she's saying her core issue is that she comes from a Middle Eastern background, which is typically very conservative, especially around sexuality. And I think a lot of queer people, even when they're out, they might refrain from getting legally married because of cultural or religious reasons, or because they know it's going to cause a rift or conflict in the family. Like, some people are very much like, marriage should be between a man and a woman, and people of the same sex getting married is disrespectful to the institution of marriage, blah 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 blah. So I feel like there's some people that feel like, yes, I can be gay, yes, I can have a partner, but internalize that they can't cross that line, right? So that's kind of the vibe that we're getting from MAGAN in the beginning. And DANYA's pretty much like, well, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you don't marry me, I'm leaving you. Like, I've waited too long. Like, that's your issue, respectfully. I know what I want. So if you're not willing to stand up to your family, I'm gone, respectfully. And I can understand both sides. I can definitely empathize with MAGAN's situation, but I can also see it from DANYA's side. I personally, for a long-term partner, I would want to get married. I personally can understand people who may have, problems with their family because of cultural or religious reasons. But if you could not stand up to your family in order to get married to me, that would be a deal breaker. So that's why DANYA has issued this ultimatum. It seems like DANYA is getting very much immersed in this experience. She's like, you know what? I'm here to get married, whether it's you or somebody else. Because we know the format by now. The ultimatum format is very ridiculous, very toxic. For those of you who don't know what the format is, basically, somebody in the relationship wants to get married, issues an ultimatum, they come into this experiment with all these other couples in the same situation. They then have to break up, be single, date other people, and then choose someone for a trial marriage, have a stimulation trial marriage with another person for like 2 weeks, and then basically now come back to their old partners and basically compare the couplings and then decide whether they want to get married to their original partners or not. And it gets messy every year because obviously, feelings get involved. Somebody might, fall for their, trial marriage partner, cracks in the relationship start to show in their original relationship, so on and so forth, right? Crazy concept, but it can be entertaining. This season, not so much, to be honest. I feel like it was quite serious and quite intense in some parts. Like, it wasn't like messy. It wasn't giving like delicious, messy trash TV, in my opinion. But there were definitely some gagging situations, and DANYA and MAGAN were at the center of it. So that's the pretense of everything. DANYA's getting very involved. She's getting hot and heavy with this person called Mel. And MAGAN is feeling very insecure from the beginning. She's telling her, I miss you. I'm a bit nervous about this. And DANYA's pretty much saying, I don't give a fuck. I gave you the ultimatum. You agreed to be a part of this experience. Like, you don't want to commit to me, and now you don't want to commit to this experiment. And I was kind of like, you know what, fair, especially if you are the ultimatum giver. Then literally a day before they choose their new partners, we see MAGAN and DANYA having this heart-to-heart where MAGAN's basically crying and basically saying she doesn't want to do the experiment. Like, she's seeing her entertaining other people and it's very difficult. Like, it's meant to be a trial marriage where you're meant to be doing trial marriage things. Like, basically, like, I think there's always like unspoken rules, right? Or maybe discussed rules where people are kind of like put in their boundaries, like might say like, you know, you can like grow an emotional connection, but I'm uncomfortable with you growing a sexual connection, or like, you know, this is how far I would expect you to take it physically with someone. But in if we're really getting invested in the experiment, in my opinion, everything's on the table, right? If you're agreeing to this balmy experiment, take it all the way. And, you know, as somebody who is a connoisseur for mess, yes, take it all the way. But obviously, people have their boundaries, even within this experiment, right? And, you know, realistically speaking, if you cared about someone, regardless of the experiment, there probably is certain boundaries that you know that you shouldn't cross, right? Even though it's meant to be like a proper marriage stimulation. So yeah, Megan's basically saying, you know, we're meant to be in a marriage doing marriage things, alluding to the physical aspect of things. And Danya's basically like, yeah, so what do you want to do? You want to check it out? And again, you know what? I rate it because you issued the ultimatum. You know, you want to get married. She doesn't want to get married. You've taken her to this experiment, you know, and it is what it is. So Megan ends up staying. She couples up with someone called Haley. Danya couples up with someone called Mel. Right off the bat, Danya was coming in very hot with Mel. It seemed like within the first day, she marked her territory on Mel, and it was like very much like that was going to be her trial wife. And I thought it was a bit weird how territorial she was being, considering in the beginning they were literally just dating each other. And it seemed like after day one, she was basically like, oh, like, why are you ignoring me? Why aren't you talking to me? I feel like you're only talking to me in private and you're not making it known that you like me publicly. Like, what's that about? Is that shady? Are you wasting my time? And I'm just thinking, why are we putting our eggs in one basket when we're meant to be dating? Surely we should be, I get having a favorite, but surely we should be shopping around. So I thought that was a little bit of a red flag, how possessive Danya was straight away. We see Megan connecting with Haley, but at that point, it's looking like it's just going to be one of those like friendship couples, you know, like it's just the default, you know, Megan has just kind of ended up with someone. That's what I was thinking. And it was going to be Danya who was really going to be getting immersed in this experiment. Now, Danya and Mel definitely were getting immersed in this experiment. There was this whole question mark on whether they were fucking or not. And then we see them go off screen, and all we're hearing is this panting and this gasping and this moaning, and it sounded like they're doing the do. Now, they both deny that they had sex, right? Initially, they denied that they did anything physical. Mel eventually admits to her partner when they reunite that they teetered the line. I don't know what that means. And I don't know the technicalities of lesbian sex, like what constitutes as sex. I'm hearing some people qualify as eating the cooch as sex. I'm hearing getting the strap out is officially sex. So if the girl is in the sapphic relationships could clarify for me like what is considered sex, that would be great. Like I said, it sounded like at the very least some coochie was being ate. That's what it sounded to me, but I don't know, maybe it was like some mutual masturbation. I don't know. Either way, I think it was more than teetered, right? And this was like a big scandal in the group. And Megan is like, yeah, I know you did stuff. I hacked into your Spotify and I saw that you had a sex playlist. Mel and Danya have nothing to say. They're just looking very suspicious. But mind you, Megan has had sex with Haley. Like, she has admitted that she's had sex with Haley. And while they're having this confrontation, she's not fessing up. She waits till later to say it, which again was very messy. So it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. And when she comes clean to Danya about it, she's now trying to make Megan the bad one, right? Even though she clearly was doing sexual stuff as well. On top of that, Danya and Mel have gotten matching tattoos, which she said she would always do with Megan. And of course, Megan feels the type of way about that. But yeah, it's all very messy. But who do you think is the problem in this relationship?